Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Regina Planning Commission meeting for December 9th, 2020. The first order of business is the selection of a chairperson. Could I have a nomination for chairperson, please? Councillor Shaw?
I nominate John Findura.
Okay, John Findura. Any other nominations? Seeing none, congratulations, Councillor Findura. You are chair for Regina Planning Commission for December 2020 and 2021. Could you please take the chair?
Need a pen. Okay. Well, thank you for nominating me. I really thank. I mean it. I thank you. Well, us three of us, we all knew. I've been here for a while, but not on this in this chair. So, thank you. So, welcome. Good afternoon, and welcome to the December 9th, 2020 Regina Planning Commission meeting. To ensure social distancing measures are being met during this time, some members of Commission and City Administration are attending the meeting today through video conferencing. I would like to remind those members who are attending through video conferencing of the following. Please ensure that your video camera and microphones are turned off. If a member of Commission wishes to speak, enter your name in the chat window in order to be placed in the speaking queue. When speaking, remember to unmute your microphone and enable your video camera, and all votes will be conducted with a recorded vote. Delegations are also attending the meeting today through teleconferencing to address the Commission on various items on the agenda. All reports considered at this meeting will be considered by City Council at its meeting scheduled for December 16, 2020. The deadline to submit a brief to the City Clerk's office to appear as delegation on the City Council agenda is 10 a.m. Monday, December 14th. Okay, just a friendly reminder that all movers should be confirmed verbally by the chairperson. Don't have to do all that stuff? Okay. So the mandatory recess at 6:15, we should be done before that. Adjournment at 8:30. Okay. So let's go. And you will have to bear with me with names and all that. We have some names?
We do have delegations.
We have delegations, so we got to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a delegation appearing here teleconferencing on RPC 2034. We have James Archibald. James, are you there?
Hi there, James speaking. You can hear me?
Unmute.
Can you hear me now?
James, press *6.
Hello, James speaking.
He was there, was he? James, are you there? Press star 6.
Can you hear me?
Okay. He's there? They can hear us? James, you there?
Okay, see that we're going to go to the next, ask James to stay on the line, and we'll go to the next report.
Okay, James, we're going to move on to the next report. Once we get you, to just stay on the line, once we get you, so then we'll come back to the report. Okay, so, okay, we'll let him in? So we'll wait for him? Done?
Hello, James speaking.
There he is. Okay, James, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead, introduce yourself, who you represent if not, and you have 5 minutes. Afterwards, there may be a question from the commission. Go ahead.
Sure. Thanks for your time today. Sorry for the technical problem. My name is James Archibald, and my family has been a local Regina business for over 40 years, starting with my grandfather. And we're excited to bring this proposal forward to discuss our goals and visions, planning for the next 40 years investing in Regina. Before you, we have a proposal to rezone our properties on Saskatchewan Drive, which is on the edge of the Cathedral neighborhood, next to Mosaic Stadium, and on a key route in and out of downtown Regina. We're proposing to rezone the properties to a mixed-use commercial zoning rather than the current industrial zoning that it is. This would allow us to look at investing into energy efficiency upgrades and cosmetic upgrades for the buildings, and to pursue opportunities to diversify our own businesses and to provide additional commercial space for complementary local businesses and services that would be of greater benefit, we feel, to the local community. Additionally, it would allow our businesses to be a bit more nimble. As we all know, it's some very challenging times these days, and you never quite know what the world next week's going to look like. So having opportunities to kind of adjust on a day-to-day basis definitely helps us out. And the nature of our businesses has changed significantly over the last number of years and decades, and we no longer need large amounts of industrial space and warehousing space. So accordingly, we're underutilizing a lot of space in these buildings, and we feel that would be better repurposed to serve the surrounding community for commercial purposes and services rather than looking at industrial uses going forward. This proposal, we believe, is consistent with a number of the OCP's policies and goals for the area and supports the Cathedral area neighborhoods plan hope to have long-term redevelopment of the south side of Saskatchewan Drive with more compatible commercial uses rather than these more intensive industrial ones. We appreciate the hard work that the administration has put into this proposal and assisting us as we've navigated through it, and we're optimistic that they support the proposal and share the same opinion that it has the opportunity to contribute to the enhancement of the Saskatchewan Drive corridor. Additionally, we've reached out to the Community Association and some of the neighboring businesses, and all of them are supportive and share a similar view that it would be a better fit for the area, provide more opportunities for walkable services, and the opportunity for kind of a cluster of businesses. If we've got the Dairy Queen Construction Association, if we were able to get a couple more services in that area, I think it would be a good opportunity. We spoke to a number of the homeowners in the area just to kind of bring them up to speed with what we're looking at. And to the best of our knowledge, no concerns have been raised, so there doesn't seem to be any opposition and only support that we've uncovered. So I guess that's kind of the broad strokes of what we're looking at for the proposal. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission members may have, and I appreciate your time.
Are there any questions from the commission? Oh, there is one here, okay. I think it's Councilor Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Archibald. I actually am very eager to see this area developed since it is the road down to downtown. Right now, I don't find it very attractive. I drive this road every day. So I am super excited to hear you guys' plans to build this and develop this. And I know the cathedral area, some of the people that are in that area, that this will affect, and they're very excited about it. So thank you, and I don't have any questions right now.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Shaw. Okay, what do we have here? I'm just going to say, Adrienne?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I wonder if you can describe the current businesses that may exist on these properties and what the impact would be to them of this rezoning.
Mr. Archibald?
Primarily the businesses operating in there are our own businesses. So we operate a gas bar and convenience store. So the positive benefit definitely would be that we'd have the ability to expand those types of uses. So we could have a larger convenience store. We could navigate into other types of businesses. And then, as I discussed, we could look at creating new spaces within the buildings for new businesses to come in and kind of partner with us or provide a complementary group of services. So from our perspective, it would only be positive. There's no, other than ourselves, there's no other tenants in there that would be negatively affected.
Yeah, thank you. So I have, Tak, you next. Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Archibald, I'm just curious if you could maybe repeat if you have any ideas of what sort of businesses that you will be bringing into this expansions, and whether you have a priority to support local businesses or it's still not. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Archibald, go ahead.
Sure. Well, I mean, as I mentioned, we are a local business, so that we're definitely supportive of that, and we work with a lot of other business groups locally to try to kind of work together and kind of go the right direction. So we've had a lot of folks inquire about space, and it's everything from specialty grocery stores. We've had some professional offices, like doctors' offices, things of that nature that have kind of inquired about space. A fellow that wanted to do a restaurant I spoke with yesterday. So the challenge is it's difficult to kind of get something absolutely firm set up in place because the process is quite lengthy to get through this. So for reference, we started this in July. So a lot of folks, they're kind of looking for things tomorrow. So once we've kind of gotten past this phase, we're definitely optimistic that we can start kind of getting on the phone with all those people and try to get something set up sooner than later. Predominantly in the retail services, and then hopefully into a certain amount of food services as well.
Thank you. No further question.
Okay, thank you, Tak. Are we going again? Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just for a matter of clarification, through you, Mr. Chair, the application indicates it's for properties at 3405 and 3431 Saskatchewan Drive. When I look at Appendix A1 and A2, I also see 3419 located within the dotted lines that indicate the subject property. Is that correct? And is 3419 also included?
Mr. Archibald?
I'm just going to bring up that. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I believe that, 3405 encompasses, I believe it's two lots, and I think that 3419 shows as being a separate address where it's all under one address.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tunis, I can see your name, so I can say.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I wonder, Mr. Archibald, if I could ask a quick question. Is the intent to tear down these buildings and build something new that meets the needs of what you're trying to develop here? Or is it just to enhance the buildings that are currently there?
Mr. Archibald?
Well, I think I believe it would be kind of, the primary short-term goal would be the kind of the reuse of the existing spaces. I mean, depending on who the tenant would be, they may not want to do that, and there may be an opportunity to redevelop in totality. So we're trying to kind of pave the way for those options. I mean, definitely I'd like to see some major modifications done to the properties in the coming years, but that might not be a 5-year plan. That might be more of a 10-year plan, kind of depending on what the economic conditions look like. So the short-term goal is to repurpose the buildings as they exist, modify them kind of minimally, I guess, to suit kind of what needs to be done for those particular tenants. So with the building on the corner, for instance, like I would really like to reface it, get it kind of brought up to a more kind of modern look, and then you could have a number of stores or a single tenant in there that could make much better use of that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Any further questions? I see nothing on the Teams. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Archibald, for presenting, and you may disconnect, and we'll consider the report. Could I get a member of commission to move RPC 20-34, put it on the floor? Okay.
It's 3 Moreau. I'll put that forward. I'll make the motion.
Who's that?
3 Moreau.
Okay. Okay, Sherry, thank you very much. If I can ask Ms. Harlock to introduce or give a little overview on the report, please. There you go. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the applicant is requesting the amendment to rezone the properties, as noted in the report, from IL to MH, mixed high-rise zone. As noted, it's to prepare for an alternative type of development on Sass Drive. The Cathedral area, the Cathedral neighborhood was notified of that, and the association was in support of this. I might just add that we are in the midst of doing a Saskatchewan Drive corridor plan. So that was initiated last year. And so we are in the midst of looking at what Saskatchewan Drive will look like and how it will change. And from the consultation that we've done thus far, it is about moving towards this, where we're allowing for a more mixed-use, revitalized Saskatchewan Drive corridor, because it is the gateway into our downtown and needs rejuvenation. So we do support this application, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harlock. Any questions over the administration? Okay, looks like, Adrienne, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to confirm with regards to Appendix A1 and A2, with regards to the blocks and what the subject property actually is. In the recommendations, it does say 3405 and 3431, but 3419 is also included. So is that part of 3405? Just, wanting clarification because it does appear there on that appendices.
Okay, Ms. Harlock, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, that is correct. It is supposed to be, so that was an error. It is it's everything that you see on Appendix A1.
Okay. I'm not seeing any further questions? Any comments? Anybody on Teams? Nope, I don't see. Okay. I don't see any questions, no comments. I will call the question, and we'll do it by electronic vote.
Okay, Mr.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Boykovsky? Mr. Dawes?
Yes.
Ms. Hagen-Leister?
Yes.
Ms. Moreau?
Yes.
Mr. Pham?
Yes.
Mr. Sinclair?
Yes.
Mr. Tennyson?
Yes.
Ms. York?
Yes.
Counselor Shaw? Counselor Zahidniak? And Counselor Findura?
In favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have delegation on the next one? No. No delegation? Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll move to RPC 20-35, 3433 Fifth Avenue, discretionary use application. We have no delegation. If I could get a commission member to, Mr. Tunison, move. Thank you. Okay. Ms. Howard, if I could ask you again to summarize, introduce, give a little comments on the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the applicants and the property owner propose to develop an institution humanitarian service land use within the existing vacant building at 3433 Fifth Avenue. So the proposal will include administrative offices, a community and cultural hub offering Indigenous community-based programming and services. So the proposal also includes adding 228 square meters of space at the second floor to the existing building. So the development would occupy a total of 949 square meters. The current discretionary, this is a discretionary use application, that's why it is before you today. So we do recommend approval of the application with the conditions as outlined, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Howard. Are there any questions or comments, questions from the committee, from the commission? Who's in here? Okay. Councillor Shaw, go ahead.
Through the chair, sorry. I just have a question. Is there any timeline as to when they're going to start doing this development and renovation and remodeling of this building?
Ms. Howard, is it to you? Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, so I might ask Mr. Guliani to answer about the timelines. Typically, once approval is they'll go forward with the building permit process, and then that process may take some time just as the drawings and to go through that. But Mr. Guliani might have some more details about specifics, timelines.
Okay, Mr. Guliani, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as I understand, they would like to move in on the Aboriginal Day next year, which is June 26th. So their plan is to move in. So they've already started some demo or some of their work that they could do. And yeah, they would continue the work to make sure that they move by June 26th.
Thank you. Councillor Zahidniak?
I note in the accessibility impacts section that the proposed development provides one accessible parking stall, which meets the minimum requirements. It seems to me that it would be better to have more accessible parking stalls planned. So if, I don't know if anyone wants to respond to that. Okay. And then I might have a follow-up question.
Okay, Ms. Howard?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. So the minimum accessible standards is all that the applicant has to abide by. We cannot require them to add any more as per the bylaw. So it is up to them whether or not they wish to add additional ones.
Okay.
But the bylaw is specific and it has different requirements based on square footages for the number of parking stalls that would be required, whether it be accessible or regular parking stalls. So they meet all of the requirements as per the bylaw.
And as you noted, we have no ability to require
No.
beyond the minimum. Okay.
But through you, Mr. Chairman, should the commission want to change the bylaw, then that would be, you'd have to go through the bylaw amendment process, should you wish to change the whole bylaw.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Then we got, is that Mr. Burkowski?
Through the chair, I assume the parking stalls are currently existing. We are adding quite a bit of floor space here. Do the existing parking spaces comply with current bylaw? It looks like they are dimensionally quite small. Maybe if that could be confirmed.
Ms. Howard?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might ask Mr. Giuliani to answer that question.
Okay, Mr. Giuliani, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, the existing parking spaces comply with the new zoning bylaw, both by number and by size. So yeah, that is not a concern.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Anyone else? TAC is back on again? Okay, gotta keep it 9 o'clock. Okay, TAC, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I just want to bring up the section under public notice comments, and there's a comment from the public that is completely opposed. And one of the issues that they raised up is regarding property value. Just from my own understanding, would that be that the concern wasn't about the decline in the value of the property, but the rise in their property value, which will result in higher property taxes? Could that be one of the reasons why they completely oppose?
I'm not sure, Ms. Harlock, if you need a little more clarity on the question? Or?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think what the property values of individual properties, whether there's a perceived notion that it will decrease their values or increase assessment and tax, is very specific on how valuation of properties are done with respect to how taxes, or pardon me, the assessment of the properties. So as indicated in the report, we are not aware of any evidence that would indicate whether or not it would take it down. What would bring up another person's properties or that person's properties was improvements to their properties.
Okay, thank you. Mr. TAC?
Thank you. No further question.
Okay. Moving around, no further questions? Anyone else? No? Okay, then I will call the question. We'll have a electronic. Madam Clerk?
Okay, Mr. Tunison. Ms. York?
Yes?
Mr. Boykowski?
In favor.
Mr. Dawes?
Yes.
Ms. Hagan-Leister?
Yes.
Ms. Moreau?
Yes.
Mr. Pham?
Yes.
Mr. Sinclair?
Yes.
Councillor Shaw?
In favor.
Councillor Zahidniak?
Yes.
Councillor Findura?
In favor? Thank you. Okay, we'll move to, no delegation on. No more, okay. Let's move to RPC 2036, 5400 Parliament Avenue, discretionary use. If I could get a member to, Mr. Boykowski moves. Thank you. Ms. Howrelak, if I could get you to introduce or summarize or give us, there you are, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the applicant is proposing to develop 48-unit residential plan group of dwellings at 5400 Parliament Avenue in Harbour Landing. The property is currently zoned residential high-rise zone and is identified as the high-density residential area within the Harbour Landing concept plan. The development is a discretionary use due to there being multiple buildings being proposed on the site, specifically that there are asking for 6 buildings to have the total of 48 units within them. Just as some background, on July 28th, 2014, Council did do the rezoning of the property, and there was a development permit approval for an apartment on the site, but the development never did proceed, and since then the development permit has expired. So when we looked at this, based on the zoning and the application, we do support the development as proposed, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Howrelak. Okay. Are there any questions? Committee? Okay, there we go. Adrian? Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I just wondered about access to this development. It appears that it will be off of James Hill Road, but there was a notation about potential overflow of parking onto the street. Obviously, that's a very busy area and lots of traffic, and just wanted some comments about how that will be managed and mitigated, et cetera. I believe there's one parking space for each of the units, and I was just looking for kind of occupancy projected for this development.
Saralak?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might start and then ask Mr. Silva to answer, but yes, it meets all the requirements for the parking on site, requires the 48 stalls. And then, as you can see on Appendix A2, how the property is accessed via the different roads. James Hill Road is on the west side of the property. And I'll ask Mr. Silva to talk about the assessment regarding the parking.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. So yeah, there are 48 residential units proposed for this development. They are proposing to supply 48 units as part of this development, so they are meeting all the applicable standards. There are limited opportunities for on-street parking. There are currently some on-street parking stalls available on James Hill Road. However, there are not any on-street parking stalls to the south on Parliament Avenue or to the north on 25th Avenue. So we require one stall per unit, and that will all be housed on site.
Thank you. Any further? That's good. Who's got? TAC? Okay. Celeste, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I'm just wondering, there's a mention in the description that it's a condominium complex, but it also says that the applicant is seeking approval for affordable housing units as well, and I'm wondering if someone from administration could speak to that. What exactly do they mean by affordable units within a condominium corporation? Approximately how many and what kind of price range are we talking?
Saralak?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might ask Mr. Silva, or if Mr. Tolman is on the line, because that is a separate process than the planning process.
Okay. Who's going to take that one, Mr. Sleva?
Sure. So a condominium is multiple owners on one property. So a condominium can be affordable, it can be market rate, it can be really any combination of property values. So there can be a combination of market rental or market rate condominiums and affordable condominiums. The discussion between our housing branch and the applicant is still ongoing in regards to the specifics in terms of the affordable housing. They are targeting one of the buildings to be full of affordable units, and some of the definitions are provided by both the provincial and federal governments, but as those discussions are still ongoing, I would hesitate to commit to a certain price point when it comes to the affordable units.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just out of curiosity, condominiums assume that there are condo fees to be paid. So with the affordable units, would there be a reduction in condo fees, or there wouldn't be condo fees? I'm just wondering, for people who would be interested in that, how that could be explained to them.
Okay, Ms. Saralak?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. So the applicants would be applying under our affordable housing program with the city, and there is set criteria around that. As Mr. Sleva said, is that it is being negotiated right now with respect to what they are looking at, but this isn't an issue for regarding the land use. It is a separate application process.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Zahedniak, it's you.
Just looking for some, clarity about the housing type, so these are condo units. Because in the report, it talks about how this will contribute to housing diversity in Harbor Landing. Example, single detached duplex. Can you just clarify to me, there's, what do we know about the plans here? Through the chair.
Ms. Howard, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. So as the report shows, it is 6 buildings that are being built on the property with 8 units. So as for the appendixes, they are that form of housing, which is similar to what you've seen in other parts of Harbor Landing. But that comment is just indicating that it is providing those different types of housing units for the area. With it being a condominium, so those are home ownership type units, but also providing that opportunity to have a different type of form of housing within the general area. Because within that area, this is a lower level building type, as you can see from the drawings on A-3.2, versus a larger apartment building or something of that nature. So as per our strategic housing plan, and our OCP, we try and get different forms of housing to support different lifestyles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councilor Zahedniak, we good? All right. Got to check a couple screens here. No, any further questions? Anyone? Okay, I will call the question. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Boykowski? Just give me one moment, please. Mr. Dawes?
Yes.
Ms. Hagenmeister?
Yes.
Ms. Moreau?
Yes.
Mr. Pham?
Yes.
Mr. Sinclair?
Yes.
Mr. Tunison?
Yes.
Ms. York?
Yes.
Counselor Shaw?
Yes.
Counselor Zahedniak?
Yes.
And Counselor Findura?
In favor.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, let's move to our RPC 20-37, Heritage Designation 2125 11th Avenue. If I could get a member of commission to move the report.
Yes, Celeste York, I move.
So that's yours. Thank you very much. Okay, and we'll go to Ms. Howlett. Would you like to give us a little overview on this report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the applicant, on behalf of the owner, has applied to designate the dark block at 2125 11th Avenue as a municipal heritage property. We are considering this under Section 11 of the Heritage Property Act and the policies and procedures established by City Council in March of 2019. So the property is currently on the heritage inventory, which is a list of properties that may have heritage value and potential for designation. So listing on the inventory does not ensure that maintenance and upkeep of the property, but it allows for incentives for conservation or prevent demolition. So the heritage inventory policy was approved by council on March 29, 2019 to replace the old heritage holding bylaw. The intent of the heritage inventory policy is to provide a framework for consistent evaluation of properties to determine their heritage value. So the evaluation process is values-based, meaning that it goes beyond consideration of just the architectural features and includes location, physical settings, and workmanship in historical and cultural associations. With this, we've done the evaluation on the property, and with the policy, if it's grade 1, we're recommending approval. Grade 2, we wouldn't recommend approval other than if the owner is wanting to have their property actually designated. So in this case, we've done the evaluation, and it has come out with the level 2, but with the property owner wanting to see it designated, we are supporting the designation as per our policy. So we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Harlock. Are there any questions from the commission? Am I see a hand up? Ms. York, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Just one clarification piece. I'm seeing two different dates as to when the building was built. I'm seeing 1907, and then I'm seeing, I believe it's 1929. And I'm just wondering if that would make a difference in how it's described in the statement of significance when it talks about the period of significance, because if the building is indeed 1907, then the period of significance on page 5 states that it's 1919 to 1929 post First World War, whereas if it's 1907, I believe it would be pre-First World War. And I also believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we do not have that many buildings in downtown Regina that are pre-World War I. So I'd like some clarification because there are two sets of dates.
Thank you. Ms. Harlock?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might ask Ms. Hill or Mr. Adedeji to go into the specifics of that question.
Okay. Who's going to be? Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Oh, sorry, I'll put on my camera.
There you go.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that it's the second date that's correct, and so I believe we have just an error in the document.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we've got Mr. Bukowski. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Just as a comment on this one, certainly appreciate anybody who's coming forward and wanting to protect some of the historic buildings in Regina. I find like maybe this is a question for the administration. As this is potentially being a designated heritage building, how will it be presented to the public that it is a heritage building, and how will the public, let's say, benefit from it, other than it being maintained in its current state? Like, will there be a plaque? Will there be information released on it? What's the commitment of the owner, let's say?
Okay, I want to get to Ms. Harlock.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might start and then ask Ms. Hill to add to it. So with it being designated, the primary thing is the conservation of the building. So that's our number one priority, is the conservation of it. And then, of course, we have it listed on our website and those sorts of things with respect to the heritage significance. Then it would be part of the heritage tours that are done within the city. I might ask Ms. Hill to add anything that's specific that the proponent may be doing with regards to typically a plaque is put up, but I might ask Ms. Hill to go into those details.
Okay, Ms. Hill, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the plaque, yes, is often put up by the property owner. We don't have specific details at this time as to whether that's the intention here. I think it is really important that because this property is in the downtown, and the Regina Downtown Business Improvement District is very active in promoting heritage buildings and promoting activation of tours and so on in that area, we tend to see that there is a lot of communication and promotion of these buildings. And then, of course, a key partner in a lot of this work is Heritage Regina in the community as well, who would be doing work on tours and promotion as well.
Thank you, Ms. Hill.
Maybe one follow-up question through the chair. As one of the really defining elements of this building, it's the innovative structure. Will that be visible or made, if I would like to look at it, experience this as part of the heritage aspect of the building, would I be able to see that? Is there any intention of making that available?
If I could just ask for a clarification through the chair, is that about the interior of the building?
This would be the interior, I assume so. It's talking about the mushroom-shaped column placement.
Yeah, and so we don't specifically through our policies typically deal with designation or conservation of the interior of the building. So that's up to the property owner how they manage that. Because it's listed in the in some of the documentation, that's usually a good indication that the property owner would be desiring to maintain it. And then I believe that building is open to the public in as much as, you know, there's doctor's offices and it's a place where you can go for appointments and to visit the pharmacy and so on.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Jack, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I would like to gain a bit more understanding on the criteria 3 on your evaluation, and why is it classified as moderate and not high?
Ms. Howlett?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I would ask Ms. Hill to answer that.
Okay, Ms. Hill, go ahead.
I can start, and then Mr. Adegeye may wish to chime in as well. Through the chair, the standard that we look at here is very high for to get to a high rating. It takes a really exceptional level of unique heritage value, and so when we look at a moderate rating, we're still talking about a property and heritage elements that are very strong and that tell a very clear story, but wanting to be able to distinguish between those properties that are extremely unique and meet that high rating. It's a rare occurrence within our framework and policies. And maybe I could just see if Mr. Adegeye has something to add that would help as well.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Adegeye.
Hello, through you, Mr. Chair. If we look at Appendix B, the explanatory notes, the criteria 3 shows a moderate is a very good example of a style, type, design, or technology in Regina or in a neighborhood, or a good example of a style, type, or design that is notably early or rare in Regina or in a neighborhood. If we were to go for I, that means it's an excellent example, and it's one of the few surviving and very good examples of a style, type of design or technology in Regina. So that's why we went for a moderate in this.
So, so do we have any other Chicago style in high rating here currently in the city?
Mr. Adegeye, go ahead. Let me go ahead, answer that, yeah.
Through you, Mr. Chair. There are other Chicago style type of architecture in the city currently. We have not yet evaluated everything, so I can't tell if the other ones are high. But this one is a mixture of Chicago style, and it's not just only Chicago style, it's a mixture of different styles.
Right. Okay, thank you. No further question.
Thank you. Dennison, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I just have a quick question on the evaluation form. I guess it's on page 8. So when I take a look at the evaluation, it happened on January 15th, 2018, and was approved on in February of 2019. Now we're almost at the end of 2020. What what causes the delays to these types of things?
Okay, Ms. Howlett?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I might ask Ms. Hill or Mr. Adegeye to answer exactly just the process that it took to
Okay.
get it to where
Thank
we
you.
are today, because it is a process.
Okay, Ms. Hill, go ahead.
Absolutely, through the chair. In this case, it's a little unique because this property was actually evaluated as part of a pilot program that we did that formed the sort of initiation of the policy that was approved in March of 2019, the Heritage Inventory Policy. And so we had hired a consultant through that process to evaluate a number of properties on the what is now the Heritage Inventory, previously the Heritage Holding Bylaw, and to create this values-based evaluation framework that you're seeing now. And so this was one of the properties that was completed through that project. The intention has been to evaluate these properties and then sort of hold them on the inventory so that they are designation ready. And so the idea being that when a property owner is ready to designate, that they're able to apply and use the information from our evaluation, and we can bring those forward for council's approval much more efficiently. We're looking at that now in terms of some of the process concerns that we've heard from Planning Commission and Council over the last number of months, and looking at a process to potentially be bringing these forward to you much more proactively, but that's something that we'll be continuing to have more discussions about in the coming months.
Okay, thank you very much.
We're good? Okay. Are there any further questions or comments, anyone? Okay, before we go any further, I got too excited. After the, finish it? Okay. So, well, so if there are no further questions, I will call the question. Madam Clerk? We'll take the vote.
Okay, Ms. York,
Yes.
Mr. Boykovsky, Mr. Dawes,
Yes.
just 1 minute. Ms. Hagenmeister,
Yes.
Ms. Moreau,
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Pham,
Yes.
Mr. Sinclair,
Yes.
Mr. Tunison,
Yes.
Councillor Shaw, Councillor Zahidniak, and Councillor Bandura.
In favor?
The motion passes
Okay.
unanimously.
Motion carried. Thank you. So before we go adjourn, I got a little excited here. Got jumped right into the reports and neglected to ask to get a mover to approve the minutes from October 7th. If I may have that. Okay, we got Adrian. Okay, may I just raise hand. All in favor? Carried. So now this was quick. First one. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the patience. I'm learning. I've chaired a few things, but this is different. So we'll get through it. We'll work together. We'll make it work. So I appreciate everybody's support, and we'll see you next time. So I'll call someone to call adjournment. Okay, Mr. Tunison? Okay, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, everyone.